So and then to cap it off with the
Oh
other
yeah.
shooting guard, we got Terence Davis, and I mean, I almost want to give this guy like a B plus just for his readiness in his sporadic minutes. He's been really good as that third string point guard, and like I said, a guy who can probably be a second string point guard on most teams. I'm saying point guard, I mean shooting guard. And so I think in that sense, just his overall readiness. He's usually playing with hustle, playing his heart out every time he sees the floor in these spotty minutes he's getting, and that's something you can really admire because he should be getting more minutes, but we just have two really good shooting guards above him, and so in that sense, it's hard to give him a B plus. Kind of like the Dellavedova, I want to give him an A minus for that reason. I mean, Terrence Davis has had bad games. His defense hasn't been the best, but or at times it hasn't been the best. But I think just overall, I think he deserves a B, just like his counterparts at that shooting guard position. What do you think?
I think you had it spot on at first. I think he definitely deserves a B plus. I don't think
Okay.
there's any doubt. We came into this season saying like this guy has a chance to really kind of like force his way into being a factor on this team. And in a lot of ways, he's done all he can. Aside from the fact that he's had spotty minutes and whatnot, he comes in, and once that rhythm comes back, sometimes he's the scariest scorer on the floor at times. You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, like the Nets game.
yeah, I mean like, he's capable of that at any point. His value as a spot starter has been incredible, and to the point about defense, Terrence Davis statistically, I mean, I don't read too much into the defensive rating and stuff like that because if you do that, you start factoring in, you're like, well, then Chimezie Metu, because Chimezie Metu has an insanely good defensive rating. And the reason I would say that he probably has a great defensive rating, and there's probably other factors involved in this, but think about how much he plays with Davion Mitchell. Think about how much he plays with De'Aaron Fox, who on the defensive rating front isn't great, but ball pressure wise, he's been great. Monk has been a pretty good defender this year. And I think Terrence Davis is the third best applier of ball pressure on this team. He's definitely the most susceptible of Mitchell, Fox, and Davis. I think Davis is the most susceptible of the three to foul, which I think is one of his biggest knocks on defense. But from the moment in that game against Phoenix at home, where he had that like learning lesson that with Mike Brown, where he didn't step up, then he drew the charge. That's like a perfect microcosm for what he is on the defensive end. He's just constantly trying to be better. He's constantly trying to make a difference. And if he's not fouling people, which he kind of started to do in the second game against Phoenix right before the break, I think he had a couple of fouls there. I think all in the third quarter or something like that. That was about a week ago now, so I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, like, I guess what I'm saying is the biggest fault for him on defense is he's a little too zealous, like a little overzealous with his activity. But I think if you look at deflections per 36 minutes, he's easily in first place on the team. He's a terrific defender, in my opinion. And I always said, and you pointed it out too, this guy's got a 6'9" wingspan on a 6'4" frame. That's not incredible, but it's something. He's got some length. You add that frenetic activity that he just plays with on every end of the floor and has had to do as an undrafted free agent. I mean, and then given the fact that he's the third shooting guard, he's not offered as many opportunities in the rotation relative to the role. He's been awesome. And all I can think about, especially after Monk hurt his ankle, and granted that's not a super big injury, but it's just like, man, you're just really happy to have Terrence Davis if you're Mike Brown, because you lose Monk for a bit. I mean, obviously Monk's great, but well, you got Davis. It's not a big deal. It really takes the brunt of that hit off. And I think for all those reasons, Terrence Davis deserves a B plus. I mean, he's just been great. He's just a constantly running engine, and he's had to stay ready the most for any opportunity that he's had, even more than Trey Lyles, even more than Chimezie Metu. And he more or less does pretty well, especially if he's got a rhythm going. When he's thrown into something after not playing for a while, you kind of give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, but he'll figure it out a game or two later. He'll get that thing going. And he's one of the better he's a better 3-point shooter this season than Monk. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing but good things to say about Terrence Davis.
It's hard not to.
So I would make the argument that he gets a B plus.
I'm very down for that B plus.